My friends, I want to speak to you today about a truth that will change your life forever. It's a simple truth, but it's one that too many people ignore. Listen carefully. If someone truly wants you in their life, you won't have to chase them. We live in a world where people run after things that were never meant for them. They chase relationships, approval, success, desperate for something that only God can give. But I'm here to tell you today, you don't have to beg for what God has already prepared for you. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. That means God has a perfect plan, a perfect timing, and a perfect path for your life. The question is, will you trust Him? Some of you are holding on to people who have already walked away. You're waiting for someone to choose you when the Lord has already chosen you. You are already loved, you are already valuable, you are already enough in His eyes. You see, when God brings the right people into your life, whether it's a friend, a spouse, or a mentor, you won't have to convince them to stay. They will be drawn to you by something greater than emotions or circumstances. They will see God's light in you, and they will want to walk alongside you on this journey of faith. But too many times we let fear take control. We ask, what if I end up alone? What if I miss out? But let me tell you something. You will never miss what God has planned for you if you trust in His timing. So today I challenge you, let go of what is not for you. Stop chasing people who don't see your worth. Stop holding on to things that are keeping you from God's best. Because when you surrender, when you trust, when you put it all in the hands of Jesus, He will bring the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings into your life. God's plan is always better than your plan. His timing is always perfect. And when you trust Him, you will never have to force what was meant to be. So stand firm, be patient, and let God write your story, because when you wait on the Lord, His answer is always worth it. Amen. There comes a time in life when we must stop running after things that were never meant for us. We live in a world where people spend their energy chasing relationships, opportunities, and approval, believing that if they don't hold on tightly, they will lose what they desire. But what if I told you that what is truly meant for you will never require you to beg, to chase, or to convince? When something is part of God's plan for your life, it will find its way to you in His perfect timing. Many people spend their lives chasing people who do not see their worth. They hold on to relationships that are slipping through their fingers, trying to force connections that were never meant to last. But love, friendship, and the right opportunities are never meant to be a battle of endless pursuit. If someone truly wants you in their life, they will make room for you. They will value you without hesitation, without conditions, and without you having to constantly remind them of your place. It is human nature to want to be loved and accepted, to want to feel needed. But too often we let our longing for belonging lead us into relationships that drain us rather than fulfill us. We invest our hearts in people who do not invest in us. We give time and energy to those who do not reciprocate, and in doing so, we settle for less than what God has intended for us. The truth is, you should never have to chase what was divinely appointed for your life. God has a plan for every person, and His timing is always perfect. He brings the right people into your life at the right time, and when it's His doing, you won't have to struggle to hold on. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. That means there is a season for everything, a time for people to enter your life, and a time for some to leave. It's painful when someone walks away, but we must trust that God knows what He is doing. Holding on to what is not meant for us only delays the blessings that He has in store. There is peace in knowing that what is truly for you will never require you to fight endlessly for it. It will align with your life in a way that feels natural, not forced. When God sends the right people, they will stay, not because you convince them to, but because they see your value. They will appreciate you for who you are, not for what you can offer them. Too many times, people allow fear to keep them trapped in situations that are not meant for them. Fear whispers, what if I let go and nothing better comes? It convinces them to hold on to people who do not treat them with love and respect. It tells them to stay in relationships that no longer bring joy or peace. But fear is a liar. Fear makes you believe that you must chase people to keep them in your life, when the truth is, if someone is meant to be there, they will be. Letting go is not easy. It takes faith to trust that God will bring the right people at the right time. It takes strength to walk away from something that you thought was good for you, but just because something feels familiar does not mean it is right. Just because you have history with someone does not mean they are meant to be in your future. God removes people for a reason, and when He does, it is never to leave you empty-handed. He removes to make room. He closes one door to open another. You do not have to beg for love, for friendship, or for the right opportunities. What is meant for you will be drawn to you because it is part of God's plan. Stop chasing what is running away from you, and instead trust that what is truly yours will always find its way to you. When you live with that kind of faith, you will experience peace, knowing that everything in your life is unfolding exactly as it should in God's perfect timing. God's timing is perfect even when we do not understand it. As human beings, we are often impatient, wanting things to happen immediately, believing that we know what is best for our lives. We pray and ask for things, expecting God to answer on our schedule, but the truth is, His ways are higher than ours. He sees what we cannot see, and He knows what we are not yet ready for. The timing of our blessings, relationships, and opportunities is not something we can control, and when we try to rush what God is orchestrating, we end up frustrated, exhausted, and disappointed. But when we trust in His perfect timing, we can live in peace, knowing that He will never fail us. There are moments when we feel forgotten, as if our prayers have gone unanswered and our desires are being overlooked. We watch others move forward while we remain in the same place, wondering why God is making us wait. But what we often fail to see is that God is working behind the scenes, preparing us for what is ahead. Just as a seed is planted in the ground and takes time to grow, so do the plans God has for us. If a seed is dug up too soon, it cannot flourish. If fruit is picked before it is ripe, it will not taste as it should. Likewise, when we rush ahead of God, we risk stepping into something we are not prepared for, something that may harm us rather than bless us. There are countless examples in the Bible of individuals who had to wait for God's perfect timing. Joseph had dreams of greatness, but before he reached his destiny, he endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. He could have given up, thinking that God had abandoned him, but instead, he remained faithful, and in due time, God raised him to a position of great power. David was anointed as king while he was still a shepherd boy, yet he had to wait years before he actually sat on the throne. During that time, he faced trials, enemies, and hardships. But through it all, God was preparing him. These stories remind us that waiting is not a sign of being forgotten. It is a sign that God is working on something greater than we can imagine. Often when we experience delays, we become frustrated and question God's plan. We wonder why things are not happening when we want them to, forgetting that God sees the whole picture while we only see a fragment. There are times when we pray for something, believing that we are ready for it, but in reality, God knows we need more growth, more healing, or more preparation before we can receive it. Sometimes what we desire is not actually meant for us, and God, in His mercy, withholds it because He has something far better in store. We may think we know what we need, but God, in His infinite wisdom, knows exactly what is best for us. Trusting God's timing requires faith. It requires surrender, letting go of our own timeline and believing that He is never late. It is easy to trust when things are going smoothly, but the real test comes when we are waiting, when doors are not opening, when prayers seem unanswered. It is in those moments that we must remind ourselves that God's delay is not His denial. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it never will. God is not limited by time. He is outside of it. What seems like a long wait to us is simply His way of aligning everything perfectly. When we fully trust in God's timing, we stop comparing our journey to others. We stop feeling anxious when we see people getting what we have been praying for. We stop questioning whether God hears us. Instead, we rest in the assurance that He is working all things together for our good. We begin to understand that His plans are worth the wait, and when the time is right, what He has prepared for us will come to pass in a way that we could never have orchestrated on our own. You are already enough in a world that constantly tells you that you need to be more successful, more attractive, more accomplished. It is easy to believe that you are not enough as you are. Society sets impossible standards, making people feel as if they must prove their worth through achievements, relationships, or external validation. But the truth is, your value is not determined by the opinions of others, your relationship status, or the things you have accomplished. Your worth is found in God alone, and He has already declared you enough. Too many people live their lives seeking approval, chasing after people who do not see their value, or working tirelessly to earn acceptance. They believe that if they achieve more, look a certain way, or become what others expect, then they will finally feel worthy. But no amount of worldly success, relationships, or recognition can fill the void inside a heart that does not understand its true worth. The problem is not that people do not measure up. The problem is that they're measuring themselves by the wrong standards. God never intended for you to live in a constant state of striving to prove yourself. Before you were even born, He formed you with a purpose. Psalm 139:14 says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well. You were not created by accident, and you do not need to change who you are to be loved and valued. God's love for you is not based on what you do, but on who He is. His love is unconditional, constant, and unwavering. Many people fall into the trap of believing that their worth is tied to whether or not someone chooses them. They think that if they are loved by another person, then they must be valuable. But if someone does not recognize your worth, it does not mean you are unworthy. It simply means they were never meant to be the one who validates you. True value comes from God, not from human approval. The right people will see your worth without you having to prove it to them. You do not have to beg for love, attention, or acceptance. You do not have to change yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. Another common struggle is the feeling of inadequacy when comparing oneself to others. It is easy to look around and see people who seem to be more successful, more talented, or more loved. But comparison is one of the greatest thieves of joy. It makes people believe that they are lacking when, in reality, God has given each person unique gifts, a unique purpose, and a unique path. You were never meant to be like anyone else. You were created to be exactly who you are. When you stop comparing yourself to others and start embracing the person God created you to be, you will find true peace and confidence. The enemy wants nothing more than to convince people that they are not enough. He whispers lies that say, you are not loved, you are not special, you are not worthy. And if those lies are believed, they begin to shape how people see themselves. But God's truth is the opposite. He says, you are chosen, you are loved, you are valuable. And His truth is the only one that matters. The moment you start believing that you are already enough in God's eyes, everything changes. You stop seeking validation from the world because you know that you are already approved by the one who created the universe. This does not mean that personal growth is not important. It is good to strive for excellence, to work hard, and to pursue dreams, but it should never come from a place of believing that you are not enough as you are. Growth should come from a desire to honor God with your life, not from a need to prove your worth. There is a difference between improving yourself because you want to grow and believing that you must change in order to be loved. You are already loved. You are already valuable. You are already enough. When you truly understand this, you begin to live differently. You stop settling for less than what God has for you. You stop chasing after people who do not see your worth. You stop doubting yourself and start walking in confidence. You were created with intention, designed with purpose, and loved beyond measure. There is nothing you need to do to earn your worth. You already have it. You are enough because God says you are, and His word is final. Letting go of what is not meant for you is one of the hardest yet most freeing things you can do in life. People often hold on to relationships, situations, and opportunities that no longer serve them because they are afraid of what will happen if they let go. They convince themselves that if they try harder, fight more, or change who they are, they can make something work that was never meant to last. But the truth is, holding on to what is not meant for you only delays the blessings that God has prepared for you. When you refuse to let go of something that God is trying to remove, you are choosing your own plan over His, and that always leads to unnecessary pain. It is human nature to fear the unknown. People would rather stay in familiar discomfort than step into uncertainty, even when they know deep down that they are holding on to something that is not right for them. Whether it is a relationship, a job, or a season of life, people cling to what is familiar because they do not want to feel the loss. But there is a difference between perseverance and forcing something that is no longer aligned with God's plan. There is a difference between fighting for something that is worth it and refusing to release something that is blocking your growth. When God removes something from your life, it is never to hurt you. It is to make room for something better. Yet, people struggle with letting go because they believe that what they have now is the best they will ever get. They settle for relationships that do not bring them peace, for friendships that drain them, for jobs that steal their joy, all because they are afraid that if they let go, nothing better will come. But God is not a God of scarcity. He is a God of abundance. He does not take something away without the intention of replacing it with something far greater. The problem is that people often do not trust this truth, so they cling to what is familiar, even if it is hurting them. Letting go requires faith. It requires trusting that if something is truly meant for you, it will stay, and if it is not, it will leave no matter how hard you try to hold on. It means surrendering control and allowing God to lead, even when you do not understand why things are happening the way they are. It is easy to trust God when life is going smoothly, but true faith is tested in moments of loss and uncertainty. True faith is found when you can say, God, I do not know what is next, but I trust that you do. One of the hardest things to accept is that sometimes people walk away, and no amount of effort will make them stay. When someone chooses to leave your life, you must believe that their departure is part of God's plan. You should never have to beg someone to stay, to love you, or to see your worth. The right people, the ones God has for you, will stay because they see the value in who you are. You will not have to convince them or chase them. But when someone leaves, let them go with grace. Do not waste time questioning why. Do not allow their departure to make you doubt your worth. Instead, trust that their exit is an answered prayer you may not yet understand. It is not just people that God removes. Sometimes He takes away opportunities that seem good on the surface, but would ultimately lead you away from His best. There are times when doors close and it feels like rejection, but in reality, it is God's protection. When something does not work out, when a job opportunity falls through, or when a dream seems to be slipping away, it is easy to feel discouraged. But every closed door is a redirection towards something better. Every disappointment is an opportunity to trust that God's plans are greater than your own. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It takes courage to release what is not meant for you, to walk away from something that no longer aligns with God's plan, and to trust that He has something better ahead. It is not about giving up, it is about making space for the blessings that are waiting for you. God's plan will never require you to beg, to force, or to lose yourself in the process. If something is truly meant for you, it will come in God's timing, and you will not have to sacrifice your peace to keep it. Peace comes when you stop forcing what is not meant for you. So many people live in a constant state of anxiety, trying to control every aspect of their lives, holding on to things that are slipping through their fingers and pushing for something that is not aligning with God's plan. They spend their energy worrying, striving, and exhausting themselves in an effort to make things work on their own terms. But real peace is found not in controlling everything, but in surrendering to God's perfect will. When you stop trying to force what is not meant for you, you make room for the things that are. People often believe that if they try hard enough, they can make anything work. They believe that if they just give a little more, push a little harder, or refuse to let go, then things will eventually fall into place. But some things are not meant to be forced. No matter how much effort you put in, if something is not God's will for your life, it will never bring you the fulfillment you seek. You can chase after relationships that are not meant for you, but they will always feel unstable. You can pursue opportunities that do not align with your purpose, but they will never bring you true satisfaction. You can try to open doors that God has closed, but they will remain locked no matter how much you push. One of the biggest barriers to peace is the unwillingness to accept when something is not working. People hold on to jobs that drain them, friendships that no longer serve them, and relationships that have run their course, all because they fear the unknown. They tell themselves that if they let go, they might never find something better. They believe that if they stop trying, they are giving up. But forcing what is not meant for you will never bring peace. It will only bring frustration, exhaustion, and disappointment. God's plan does not require constant striving. It requires trust. Trusting God means believing that He knows what is best, even when things do not go the way you expected. It means understanding that rejection is often redirection, that closed doors are protection, and that what you lose was never meant to stay. So often people pray for peace, but then refuse to let go of the very things that are stealing it. They ask God to guide them, but then try to control the outcome themselves. Peace does not come from having everything figured out. It comes from knowing that even when you do not understand, God is still in control. When you stop forcing what is not meant for you, you allow space for the things that are. The right relationships, opportunities, and blessings will come naturally, not through force, manipulation, or endless striving. When something is truly meant for you, it will not feel like a battle to keep it. It will not require you to sacrifice your joy, your peace, or your sense of self. What God has for you will feel right. Not in a way that is always easy, but in a way that brings clarity, not confusion. Many times people mistake struggle for destiny. They believe that if something is difficult, it must mean they need to fight harder for it. But not everything that is hard is meant for you. Yes, there will be challenges in life, and yes, perseverance is important. But there is a difference between fighting for something that is truly meant for you and forcing something that was never supposed to be yours. The things that are meant for you will not require you to lose yourself in the process of obtaining them. They will not require you to beg, to chase, or to constantly question your worth. Letting go of control is not easy. It requires faith, patience, and trust that God's plan is better than your own. It requires surrendering the belief that you always know what is best. But when you do, you will find that peace was never in having everything go your way. It was always in trusting that even when things do not, God is still leading you exactly where you are meant to be. Peace comes when you stop forcing what is not meant for you and start trusting that what is truly meant for you will never require you to fight endlessly to keep it. As what is meant for you will always find you, no matter how much time passes, no matter how many detours life takes you on, and no matter what obstacles come your way, the things God has set aside for you will arrive in His perfect timing. You do not have to chase, beg, or force the blessings that have your name on them. What is meant for you will never require you to compromise your peace, change who you are, or fight for something that is not willing to fight for you in return. When God ordains something for your life, no one and nothing can take it away from you. So many people spend their lives chasing things that were never meant for them. They run after relationships, jobs, and opportunities, believing that they must hold on tightly or else they will miss out. They believe that if they do not push, force, or control the situation, they will never get what they desire. But in doing so, they exhaust themselves, striving for things that may not even be part of God's plan. They forget that what is truly meant for them will come with grace, not struggle. Yes, challenges will exist, but there is a difference between working towards something and forcing something that is not meant to be. The world teaches people that they must chase success, relationships, and approval. It tells them that if they do not constantly strive, they will fall behind. But God's way is different. His way is about trust, faith, and divine timing. When you surrender to His plan, you begin to realize that you do not have to chase anything. You do not have to force doors to open or convince people to see your worth. What is meant for you will be drawn to you because it was always part of God's plan. Often people look at their lives and wonder why certain things have not happened yet. They see others getting what they have prayed for, and they begin to question if God has forgotten about them. But God's delays are not denials. Just because something has not arrived yet does not mean it never will. God is not limited by time. He is working behind the scenes, aligning everything perfectly so that when your blessing comes, you will be ready for it. If something has not happened yet, it is because either the time is not right or it is not meant for you at all. Trusting that what is meant for you will find you requires faith. It requires patience. It requires letting go of control and surrendering your desires to God, believing that He knows what is best for you. It is easy to trust when everything is going your way, but true faith is trusting even when things seem uncertain. It is believing that even in the waiting, even in the moments of doubt, God is still working all things together for your good. One of the greatest signs that something is meant for you is that it comes with confirmation and peace. It does not mean that it will be easy or that there will not be challenges, but when God is in something, there will be clarity, not confusion. The right relationship will not leave you feeling anxious or uncertain. The right job will not drain you to the point of exhaustion. The right opportunity will feel aligned with your purpose, not like something you have to force. When something is meant for you, it will fit into your life in a way that brings growth, not destruction. This does not mean you should sit back and do nothing. Faith requires action. But there is a difference between taking steps toward your purpose and desperately chasing after something that is running away from you. When you trust that what is meant for you will find you, you no longer operate from a place of fear. You stop grasping at things that are not for you. You stop trying to control outcomes that are out of your hands. Instead, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, knowing that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings will come at the appointed time. God's plan for your life is greater than anything you could imagine. When you stop chasing and start trusting, you will see doors open in ways you never expected. You will experience the joy of receiving what was always meant for you without exhaustion or desperation. What is meant for you will always find you, not because of luck, not because of striving, but because God's promises never fail. Keep trusting, keep believing, and in His perfect time, everything that is meant for you will arrive exactly as it should. So let go of the worry, the striving, and the fear of missing out. What God has written for your life will come to pass not because you forced it, but because He ordained it. Walk in faith, knowing that you do not have to chase what is already yours. Keep your heart open, your spirit at peace, and your trust in God unwavering. In His perfect time, what is truly meant for you will find you. And when it does, you will see that it was always worth the wait.